Welcome back to the last and most exciting coding challenge of this section. So remember the tip calculator that we created in another challenge? Let's now create a more advanced version using everything that we learned up until this point. So this time, John and his family went to 5 different restaurants, and the bills were $124, $48, $268, $180, and $42. And again, John likes to tip 20% of the bill when it is less than $50, 50% if it's between $50 and $200, and 10% if the bill is more than $200. All right, so implement a tip calculator using objects and loops this time. So here are the steps for doing that in order to help you. So first, create an object with an array for the bill values. Then add a method to calculate the tip, and this method should of course include a loop to iterate over all the paid bills and to do the tip calculations. Then as an output, you should again create 2 arrays. One containing all the paid tips and 2 containing all the final paid amounts. So again, the bill plus the tip. All right. And a hint that I have to give you here is that you can start with 2 empty arrays as properties and then fill them up in the loop. Okay. So an empty array is just like this here. And you can start with 2 empty arrays, one for this number 1, so all the tips, and then 2 for all the final paid amounts. So start with these 2 as empty arrays, and then in a loop, you can fill them up. All right? So that is already a lot of work, but after that, I even have like a step 2 for you. So to even take it to the next level. And that is that Mark's family also went on a holiday, and they are going to 4 different restaurants. And the bill that they paid were $77, $375, $110, and $45. And Mark has a slightly different rules when it comes to tipping. So he likes to tip 20% if the bill is less than $100, 10% when the bill is between $100 and $300, and 25% if the bill is more than $300. Okay, so again, that doesn't make much sense maybe, but that's just, again, to make it a bit more exciting and to make these 2 tipping functions different for each of the persons. Okay, so I want you to implement the same functionality as before, but this time, of course, using Mark's tipping rules. Then create a function, and I don't mean a method, so like an outside function, to calculate the average of a given array of tips. And here I have to give you another hint, because up until this point, we never did anything like this. Okay, and so I give you a hint here to calculate the average, and that is that you should loop over the array and in each iteration store the current sum in a variable which starts from 0. Then after you have the sum of the array, then you simply divide it by the number of elements in it. Okay, so that's the formula for calculating averages. So if that's a bit too difficult for you, then you can just stop maybe after point 5. Okay, but I would like you to try out to calculate the average. All right. So that's here on number 7. So you use the function that you created in number 6 to actually calculate the average for both families. And then you log to the console which family paid the highest tips on average. All right. So again, this one is a bit tricky maybe. So you can, no problem, take an hour or even more to try to accomplish this. All right. I think it's really important for your learning process to go through something like this, a bit more difficult even, so that you really have to try instead of it being super easy, because then you don't really learn anything, okay? So take an hour or something like that to really go through this and really try to solve these problems, all right? You don't need to be fast. Then if there are some parts that you cannot figure out, again, no problem, you can just check out my solution in the next video.